Billboards. 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 Retrofuturist, brutalist, mechanized billboards. They're pretty easy to make, and I feel like they add quite a lot to a scene. So I'm going to show you the process start to finish. Always good to start with a clear idea. So I had a few sketches, and I'm going to go with this sushi one. So I'm just going to draw it again, slightly bigger. I want a big hand here, up here, top left, holding chopsticks, and some rolls of sushi. A few rolls of sushi down here, maybe a shrimp roll. On a plate, like a sort of clean design, maybe a logo down there, and a logo up here with maybe some more writing. And it goes up and down, well, sort of back and forth, mechanized. So that's the idea. Straight away, you just want to start gathering all the little pieces that you need. So I start Googling vintage ads and trying to find the sushi straight away, like a kind of nice painted sushi. And I was having no luck for quite a while, actually. It was quite discouraging. I was trying Bing and Google images. But eventually, I found this picture of these little sushi rolls, which I think are close enough. So next I need a picture of a hand holding chopsticks, but kind of painted. I was having no luck with Google again, so I tried Bing Image Generator, and just, if you put kind of like billboard vintage sign 1950s, you get some good, decent results. But the fingers, you got to count the fingers, obviously, because you might get 7 fingers or 8 fingers or... Eventually, after quite a few generations, I got this picture, which I'm quite happy with, and almost has 6 fingers, but it's all right, close enough. So we've got the hand, we've got the sushi. Next, we just need the billboard, really. Now you can just download one for free. There'll be loads on Sketchfab. Also, you can make one pretty simply. Even I can model something that simple. Here, grab a cylinder, extrude, scale for the base, grab a cube, size it correctly, subdivide the cube, duplicate the cube, wireframe modifier on the cube, push it back a little bit just for a bit of scaffolding detail. Build some little poles, make some lights, just little cubes again, inset, extrudes. Actually, I'm redoing them to make them more detailed. Make the little platform. You can add a little array modifier to do little structure stuff, and you're pretty much done. It's easy enough to model. But anyway, I prefer this free model, so I'm gonna stick with that. Next, I save a picture that's nice, high quality, and I know is the correct size for the billboard. And I'm pick whipping the off-white, just because the off-white gives it the right sort of vibe, so I like to start with that. And bring my hand in and cut it out. And essentially, so this is just digital collage, really, at this point. Paint over that little shadow there. Clean the ends up. There we go, grab one of these little rolls. Get the chopstick in front on a new layer and flip it round, because I want it coming in from top left. So now I'm just sort of laying out the billboard piece by piece. Placing the rolls by hand. I know I want a title, so I get Tasty Sushi translated into Japanese. I hope that's correct. I wanted a nice little wooden plate for the sushi rolls to sit on, but I couldn't find anything on Google, so I ended up using this AI one, and I just painted out the sushi rolls to replace them with mine. This is a bit elaborate. I'm sure I could have found a picture of, a bamboo plate, or even painted the whole plate, but I ended up doing it this way because I really liked the kind of curve of that plate style. So it doesn't need to be this complicated. I could have easily found a picture of a simple plate. After that, I just placed the sushi on, and by the way, I painted over all of this just by hand with a mouse. I don't have a tablet or a kind of, I don't know, like a pen or anything. I probably could have found an asset. Anyway, Now I'm just sort of cleaning things up, little details, and placing the sushi. And obviously I need to sort of paint in basic shadows. Obviously I'm extracting the sushi with a combination of just the magnetic lasso tool and the extract, the magic wand tool. It's basically, just like as though you were doing a collage. You're cutting it out, but you're just cutting it out digitally. Here I got a picture of some ginger and some wasabi, and then putting the title at the bottom, painting in some shadows to make the sushi look like it sort of belongs. This is how I ended up doing it. You don't need to go ahead and paint the whole thing. If you find an image that you like with an element you want to extract and animate, you can just use these principles on that. This is I wanted to show an example of how you could how far you could take it and how customizable you could go. But there's no, if you find a nice image, you could just use that. Here, just final few details, adding a couple logos to really kind of tie it all together. And adding a bit of grime on the top. I like to do 2 layers of grunge, one with the blend mode. I'm not sure exactly which blend mode, but it makes kind of white grunge, and then another one on top that has kind of dark grunge. I think it's pin light for the dark grunge, and you drop the opacity. Just cleaning up a few final things, and yes, we have our image with a few new logos, and it's cool. So now we hop into Blender, and we project the texture onto the billboard. Just selecting the faces, the front faces, and I just project from view and make sure it fits. I then put a 3D cursor. I control I think it's shift right click on the face of the billboard, and just add a cube, extrude it out to make it the same size as the banner, and just project that banner onto that, just for a bit of definition, bit of geometry. Then I add another plane, and this is going to be the hand piece. So I again project from view, line it up with the hand, and meticulously go in. I press K for the knife tool, and this is all an orthographic view, so that you don't have to worry about like perspective shifts or anything. You just you press 1 on the numpad to be for front facing, or 3 if it happens to be to the side, and you cut it out, meticulously. Once you've cut it out, you delete the surrounding faces. Once you cut it out, you select the face, Control I, invert selection, delete the other faces. Then you go into edit mode, select that hand, and extrude it. And now you have this nice hand piece. At this point, you can just quickly assign a different texture to that middle part if you like. You could texture it like with the hand texture, try and have it go over, but I quite like having a metal texture to make it kind of feel, I don't know, more real, more kind of mechanical. Now just lining it up, you want to shift right click where you want the rotation to the anchor point to be, and change the origin. Set origin to 3D cursor so that it's spinning around the point that you want it to be. I feel like the hand going up and down would cause some wear on the sign, and I want a bit more grime, just a little bit. It seems a bit too clean. And then I remembered I had this 3D model of a post box that has this kind of wear from the postman, I guess, turning the keys. So I actually that's available on my Patreon, by the way. So I just screenshotted that bit of wear and just put it sort of underneath where I think the hand would be causing the wear, and adjusted the hue, saturation, and blend modes to make it fit in. Obviously, had to erase the edges a little bit. Then I added a second little bit of drip, so you can see just a bit of drip grime. This is my favorite bit of grime. It's classic. And there we go, just a bit of wear on that top corner. And I know that it's a final touch, but these little extra touches do go a long way. Look. Now when we look at it, it just has this, it just feels more legit. Right, next, duplicate the image, plug it into the roughness with a color ramp, obviously make it non-color, and plug it into the bump as well. I use a bump node, plug it into the height, reduce the distance and strength. And final step is just the animation. So you see I'm looking at it front on. I rotate it, I get a keyframe going, I rotate it up. Well, I rotate it down a tiny bit so that it almost like clunks into motion, like, and then clunks up, right? Then I rotate it up as far as I want it to go. And then I do that sort of same little trick where before I have it go down, I have it come up a tiny bit, and then I have it kind of go back down, making sure to copy that keyframe so that it ends up at the exact same place that it starts. I then select those, Shift E, and extrapolate along the F-curve so that just goes on forever. There we go. That's that. Sushi sign. Done. I thought I'd just include the process of another one, just quickly. To show you, it doesn't need to be, you don't need to paint the whole thing and go crazy, although I do a bit of painting in this one too. So, I wanted a food mixer. This time I didn't sketch it, I was just kind of thinking I want a giant mixer, kind of half coming out of the billboard. So I Googled a few examples, found this angle that I quite liked, so I saved that image. So open up the sushi JPEG so I know the sizes, and just start working. I get it in there and start getting rid of the back part, just using that red color to fill it in, a bit of grain to fill that. And then I just decide I better find a mixer, so I go through and I actually find a similar brand or very close to the same mixer on Sketchfab, which is awesome. So I download that. I just want a sort of simple design. I need a bit of graphics. So I find this Kenwood Chef page, which is great. So I start cutting out all the pieces I want and placing them. Right, bring in the mixer model and try and sort of line it up. Luckily, because it's a very similar looking model, it lines up pretty well. So here I'm just adjusting a few more things just so that the size kind of works. Now, sometimes if you don't have your plan perfect, you'll bring it into Blender, you'll look and you'll realize actually it's going to be easier for me to just reposition a few things in the Photoshop file and then bring it back into Blender. Sometimes you have to do that. Making sure it looks right. It looks cool, but I feel like something's missing, so I'm going to try putting a bowl down there. I download one from Sketchfab and just sort of place it, squishing and squashing it, trying to get it looking good, changing the colors so that they match a bit of proportional editing to kind of really get the size honed in. That Sunbeam Mixmaster logo should be 3D, so I do that, and then I start experimenting. Maybe it looks better up there, so let's just get rid of that quickly. A bit of grime, bit of dirt, bit of doit, bit of, classic, one black, one white, just to have both, same as grain. And just cleaning up little bits. You want to remove all of those little, one tip with the Magic Wand tool, uncheck contiguous or whatever at the top there, and you can select all the stuff at once and delete. Just adding wear. You know how it goes. Bit of grime always helps. Then I realized what I needed to change was this little front part needed retexturing, so I quickly do that. Now I feel like that really brings it all together. Spindly bits, I don't know what those bits are called, but the mixer bits, and I separate them and make sure they are spinning. I animate them to spin, and we're good. I hid the bowl in the end, so I wasn't sure I needed it. But still unsure about that. Create a empty and select it, invert my selection, then select it again and parent everything to the empty, just so that, there's an easy way to control everything. And for some reason, let's move these guys, so I'm just going to move them back. Anyway, so that's that. That's the mixer. Slightly different style, a bit more kind of crazy. Look, there's loads of different ones you can do. You can have a lot of fun. You could even take it further with the kind of 3D stuff. You can have spinning cans. I mean, there's hundreds of cool ideas. So anyway, these are a few examples. I will include maybe the sushi one. I'll include a couple of these free on my Patreon, and just go over there and download them. And you could even use those as the basis for your own creations. And they'll all be available on my Patreon, and I'll put a couple of them up there for free. Cool. Let's think. I think that's it. Yeah. So, there's always different ways of approaching it. For example, this kitty one, just quickly, this kitty one is... So this is the image that I found online. As you can see, most of the logo's out of view. You can't find it. But that's enough, because at the moment I saw this, I thought, okay, the cat head, you just move the cat head, and this yellow color's easy enough to replicate. I can finish this. In fact, I'll quickly open it up. I'll show you. You can see here. Yeah, I've just used the same technique, just taking that yellow color, extending it out. You can see here even the kitty, the font doesn't really actually match, but you only kind of notice that when you point it out. And yeah, the kitty head's off to the side so I can cut it. Done. Also, to show you the cigarettes one, this is it here. It's just an image I found. I actually did a face replacement. That's me there. And I used various elements. Here, let me find some. Yeah, so you can actually see all of these are useful. Like, for example, I used this Barbara Stanwyck thing for the text on the rodeo. So, you just take little pieces and kind of build it to custom fit what you need. There's all sorts of fun things to be done. And it's kind of easy. You can kind of knock these out quite quickly. Anyway, have a good day.